Welcome to Eric's Chase Grid Talk. It's Thursday afternoon, and we got a lot to talk about here leading up to the fifth race of the 2014 Chase at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Bank of America 500 this Saturday night. I got some questions I'm going to be answering, some other stuff to talk about, but first, my announcements and stuff. I uploaded Watkins Glen, the race 6 of the W Cup Series Season 5. I uploaded that on Monday, so if you haven't seen that already, go check that out, and I hope you enjoy that. I'm going to start working on Talladega here pretty soon. I got to lug a ping pong table into my house because none of the other tables in my house are big enough to fit this huge track that I have for Talladega. So the only one that's big enough is the ping pong table, but it's right now buried in the garage somewhere. And so I'm going to have to find room somewhere in this house to put it in. So I'm going to work on that today, and I'll just try to get all that set up so I can get to work on that video. So expect that in the next 2 weeks, I'd say. And yeah, I mentioned that I've had some other videos that I'm wanting to do. They're there. I've been busy with these and my races that I haven't really gotten to make too much progress on any of them. But I can tell you I will have at least one Halloween special video come out this year. I'm not sure if it's going to be a NASCAR parody yet or not, but I will have something come out for that in a couple weeks for Halloween. So I guess that's something you can look forward to. But I guess let's get into some questions. I got the YouTube video up over here. I'm looking at the comments. Let's see. First one. All right. First question here is from Will Power. His question is, Sam Hornish Jr. is confirmed for the 9 car in RPM. What do you think about this? Do you think his training in the NASCAR Nationwide Series will pay off? Well, that's a good question. That is one of the big news things that happened this week for NASCAR is that Richard Petty Motorsports did announce that Sam Hornish Jr. is going to drive the 9 car next year. We already knew that Ambrose was going to be leaving, but we didn't know who was going to necessarily fill that spot until now. We now know that it will be Sam Hornish Jr. And this is an interesting decision, in my opinion, because I feel like Hornish is the kind of driver that, I think Hornish is good. He's definitely a good veteran. I think, yeah, all of the runs that he's done in the Nationwide Series, and I think he's proven that he's a decent racer there. I think he can be a solid Sprint Cup driver. I don't think he's going to be much better, if any better, than Ambrose, though. That's the one thing. And I think a lot of people kind of know that. I'm a little surprised that Richard Petty Motorsports didn't go and try to get a young driver. Now, I'm not really familiar with who they all really have in their up-and-coming kind of like younger drivers that they have kind of in their organization, but I'm kind of surprised that they didn't go with kind of a young rookie or somebody who has a bright future ahead of them. Because, nothing against Sam Hornish, but I just feel like he's kind of already shown everyone about all he can do, which isn't bad. He's definitely a solid race car driver, but I just don't think he's really going to give them a big spark and a huge boost that Ambrose hadn't been able to. So I just think that's a little interesting. But yeah, in terms, do I think all the racing he's done in the Nationwide Series, will it help? Of course it'll help. Another good question that I've gotten is like, will he make the Chase next year? And I don't think he will. But obviously, as we can see, it's just comes down to winning one race. And I know Sam Hornish has been strong on road courses in the past, or he's been pretty good at those in the Nationwide Series. So I'd say he's definitely got a shot there. So I don't know. I think he has a pretty good shot. Here's another comment. This one's from Lane Mayo, and this is his comment. With Penske Racing and Hendrick Motorsports picking up 21 wins altogether, which team do you think has the momentum and the consistency to get the championship at Homestead? And which driver from each team would you choose to win the championship? And then he goes on to have his picks. I'll go and say them. This is from Lane Mayo. My picks, Penske, Logano, has had the dominant season, 5 wins, 2 in the Chase. Hendrick, Gordon, shows lots of speed, most wins at HMS, and he has 1 win in the Chase at Dover. And then he asked me for my thoughts. So, Lane, so it sounds like you're saying is which team, Penske or Hendrick, who's probably been the 2 most dominant teams this season for the most part, which of them has the most momentum heading into this final few races, and out of them, who's the favorites? I agree with you on the Jeff Gordon one. I think here, let me put it this way. I think Penske, honestly, has a little bit more momentum just because they've won 3 out of the 4 Chase races so far, and they didn't have 2 guys wreck last week, or 3 guys actually. Kane wrecked, and Gordon even hit the wall a little bit. So really, they didn't have 4 guys wrecked; they only had 1. So I'd say Penske, and but at the same time, I still think that Jeff Gordon is the overall favorite to win the title right now. I think it's going to come down to It's going to come down to a lot of things right now, and I think Penske, I'm expecting, I don't like Keselowski, but I think that Keselowski will be able to overcome the adversity he faced at at Kansas last week. I think that if any of those three guys, I'm talking about Dale Jr., Jimmie Johnson, or Brad Keselowski, that had the big problems last weekend at Kansas, I think Keselowski is the one guy that might be able to rebound and still make it into the next round. Whereas I think Jimmie Johnson and Dale Jr. might have their work cut out for them and might be really, really praying for other people that have problems if they want to advance. So with that being said, I agree with you. I think Penske, Logano right now clearly has more momentum than Keselowski, and same with Jeff Gordon for Hendrick. I think Gordon, he had the only hiccup he's had in this chase so far really was at New Hampshire when he hit the wall, and even that didn't completely kill him. It just damaged him a little, and he's obviously bounced back. He won the race the next week, so I think that didn't phase him too much. So I feel like those two guys, like you said, I agree with you, Lane, that Joey and Jeff, two of the big favorites right now, especially with the struggles that the 48 and the 2 have had. Let's see, right below it, here's another question from Matthew Deal. He actually has 2 questions, and they're both kind of specific. His first one is, do you think Matt Kenseth will run well at Charlotte but possibly wreck at Talladega and be eliminated? I'll answer that pretty quickly. I think Kenseth will run well at Charlotte. He always has run well at Charlotte, and I think he'll get a good top 10 finish. And you ask if he'll possibly wreck at Talladega and be eliminated. I mean, yeah, he definitely could get wrecked at Talladega and be eliminated. I would not be surprised. I mean, I hope it doesn't happen, but I would not be surprised. So, I don't know how else to answer that. I think anyone could wreck at Talladega and be eliminated. It doesn't matter how well you run at these other races. You have to win them to be locked in. That's why Joey Logano right now, he is the happiest dude in that garage area because he knows that he's not going to have to worry about Talladega here in a couple weeks. Everyone else, as of now, still has to worry. So this weekend at Charlotte's going to be big. I think Kenseth could win the race. I mean, he ran really well there earlier this year. He finished 3rd in the All-Star race and in the Coke 600. So he's run really well there. I don't think he's the favorite to win at Charlotte by any means, but I'd say he has a shot. Matthew, your other question here is, do you think Casey Kane will possibly win at Charlotte or get a good finish and maybe have a good finish at Talladega and rally back in points? Okay, Matthew. I mean, I feel like you're either, I feel like you're a Kane fan in the fact that you talk like this question's very specific. Yeah, Kane could possibly win at Charlotte. He's been good at Charlotte in the past. He's been good at 1.5 miles. He won at Atlanta earlier this year, and that's a pretty similar track to Charlotte. They're both 1.5 miles, the quad oval kind of thing. So they're very similar. I definitely think Kane could win. You're basically asking me, do I think Kane can make the chase? Yeah, sorry, not make the chase, but avoid elimination. You're basically asking me if I think that Kane can advance, and I'd say yeah, I think he could. I don't really think he will, unfortunately. I don't think he's going to be able to advance. I just think he's going to struggle a little bit. He put himself in a little bit of a hole with the tough finish last week, and I just think he might be able to. I think he could definitely rebound, but with Talladega coming up, you can't predict anything at this point. Let's see other questions. I don't know. I'm trying to look at all these questions. A lot of these are really specific. Like I got a question here. Do you think Harvick could win? Well, he could. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I got another question here about Kane. I mean, yeah. I'm just saying a lot of these questions are extremely specific right now. Asking basically, do you think that Billy Bob can make it? Do you think that Kevin can make it? How about Jimmie? Can he make it? I mean, and I'm just saying. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be hard for a lot of guys. Talladega is going to be so random. We just have no idea what's going to happen. Here's a question. This one I've kind of answered it, but he's also got, it's kind of a two-parter question. This one's from Dylan Adamson. He asks, as of now, the chase standings are surprising. Do you think the big names outside the top 8 will bounce back? I also have another question. If Kenseth gets eliminated, who will you go for in the chase? Well, Dylan, I'll answer your first question. I definitely, the chase standings are very surprising, and I think that the big names, I guess you're assuming Casey Kane, Dale Jr., Jimmie Johnson, and Brad Keselowski, obviously the 4 that are outside looking in right now, they're all very big names, and I think that, like I briefly mentioned earlier, I think that Keselowski's got the best chance of bouncing back out of all 3 of those guys. But I I can't. It's like I'm just going to keep saying this. Talladega is going to be too much of a wild card. The thing is, I'm picking Brad Keselowski to win this weekend at Charlotte. So in my opinion, I think Keselowski is going to be okay because obviously if he wins a race, he's in anyways. And I think that Brad Keselowski, I think that team's going to really they're going to show up. They've been strong just about every race in this chase. They've had potential opportunities to win all four races so far. And I think that's going to continue on to Charlotte. I don't think that team's ego is going to get so bruised after losing so badly at Kansas. I don't think they're going to get traumatized so badly that they just aren't going to show up to Charlotte. I think they're still going to run really well and contend for the victory. And in my opinion, he is my pick to win this weekend, which would then advance him to the next round of the chase. Jimmie Johnson and especially Dale Earnhardt Jr. are the two I'm most concerned about. Jimmie, they just haven't been as good. They've been a 10th place car a lot of races, basically this whole second half of the season. They've really never been much better than a 10th, 8th or 9th place car. And unfortunately, with the hole that he's in right now, he's going to need a top 5 car each of the next 2 weeks, and he's going to have to avoid any trouble and maximize his points these next 2 weeks if he's going to advance. And I just feel like unless a lot of guys have trouble in front of him, Jimmie's going to have a hard time getting in. Same with Dale Jr., but for Dale Jr.'s case, they really just haven't run well at any place that isn't Pocono. And I mean, I'm not saying that they've run badly, but they've really not been a winning car any race that isn't Pocono or a plate track. Honestly, I mean, they've had moments where they've led, they've had moments where they've run well, but they just haven't been able to really put together a full, complete race. Last weekend at Kansas, he ran well. He was leading the race when he had his problem, but I don't think even at the time, I don't think anyone looked at him and thought, oh, he has the best car out there. It was early enough in the race that I just don't think you can't predict anything, and I don't feel confident about Dale Jr.'s chances. I hope he advances. Same with Casey Kane. I just don't feel Kane. I know he's not that far out of the chase right now. He's only a few points back, but he's just been so inconsistent these last few months. He like Jr. He was running pretty well at Charlotte and then had his issue. Or sorry, I keep saying Charlotte. Kansas. He was ran pretty well at Kansas, but then he has issue, and it's just a lot of these things that are happening to these guys just really hard to bounce back from. And unfortunately, I think that's going to be what comes back to bite him. So if you're asking me which out of the top 8 will bounce back, which of the 4 out of the top 8 will bounce back, I think Keselowski's got the best chance. The other 3, I think, are all toss-ups. I think it could go either way. But yeah, that's all I have about that. What was your other question? Oh, if Kenseth gets eliminated, who will I go for in the chase? Well, I mean, I hope Kenseth doesn't get eliminated, at least not in this round. I hope he can advance at least one more round. But I'll be honest, I mean, I guess you're basically asking me here who's my other favorite drivers. I mean, I'd like to see Hamlin. I'd like to see Kane do well, but I know that Kane, he's on the bubble. There's a good chance he won't make it, so it's hard to root for him. Edwards, even though I'm surprised Edwards has gotten as far as he has. I mean, I expected him to make it through the first round, but I'm surprised that he's running as well as he has in these last couple of races. So I'd like to see Edwards go out and win a championship. I think that'd be pretty cool. I don't want it to be Keselowski. I don't want it to be Harvick. I don't want it to be Johnson. I mean, or Gordon. I really don't want it to be Gordon, even though I think it will be him. I don't even mind Logano winning the championship either. Honestly, I feel like that team's really earned it this year. They've been kind of the surprise team. Like last year, the surprise team was Matt Kenseth, and they came up just short. This year, it's been Joey Logano, and we'll see. Since Jimmie Johnson's not running well, maybe he'll be able to actually win the championship. So, yeah, I mean, I'm a pretty neutral fan towards everybody that isn't Matt Kenseth. I'm basically go 20 or go home. That's kind of how I am a lot of times. When I go to NASCAR races, I'm not the guy wearing a Dale Jr. hat but a Jeff Gordon jacket. I'm wearing Matt Kenseth this, that, everywhere. It's all yellow and black. It's basically, that's me. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I can ask find at least one more good question. I've answered a lot of these questions already. Yeah, sorry. I see some of these questions that I've kind of already answered from other people, so there's really not much else to talk about. I feel like I'm really out of it right now for this episode. I feel like I've been scattered all over the place. I feel like I keep having to backtrack and correct myself because I keep stuttering. Yeah, I need some caffeine. I'm sleepy right now. I haven't slept. Oh man. So I guess that's the end of my show. I don't have anything else to talk about. I'm looking forward to this weekend, though, in racing. I really am. I'm looking forward to this weekend in general. I've got a couple new games that I want to play. I get a 3-day weekend for me at my school because of whatever's Monday. Is it Columbus Day? I don't even know. Whatever reason we have for missing Monday, my school district is. So I got a 3-day weekend coming up. And we finally, in this new house, we finally are getting a basketball goal installed on our driveway. And I've been really looking forward to that because, you know, that's... I like playing basketball, and I get bored just sitting around the house. My old house, I used to go outside. I'd be shooting hoops on the driveway for hours, for 2 hours a day in the middle of summer when it was 95 degrees here in Texas. And now I'm glad that we're finally getting a new goal in this new house. So I'll have something else to do. So I'm looking forward to this weekend. Then we got Saturday night race. I don't have any football on Sunday because the Texans play tonight, and I guess I'll just watch some other games, see what's going on in the other world, the NFL. But man, looking forward to life. This is gonna be a good race this week, and I'm looking forward to Charlotte. I enjoy. A lot of people like to say that the mile-and-a-half racetracks are kind of boring and dull. I don't think so. I like the mile-and-a-half racetracks. Some of those are some of my favorites. I like watching Atlanta. I like watching Charlotte. I like watching Texas. Those are some of the more fun races to me. Races like Pocono and Indianapolis. Those races I can go without sometimes. They're not nearly as entertaining to me. But I'm looking forward to this weekend. It's going to be a good race, and it'll be definitely interesting, probably a pretty interesting shakeup in the points, and it's going to set up a lot of people, and it's going to create a lot of drama heading into Talladega in 2 weeks. So that's all for me, guys. I will see you guys on Monday with a new episode. Adios.